one hurt. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time for to stop time? Isn't it time, mother, stop the crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright, everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time for to stop time? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright, make peace, peace together. Peace.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me on Between Two Worlds, Chasing Shadows show, as well as radio. Tonight, we have our returning guests. We've got Rob Mercury and his lovely wife, Mix. Now, happy Canada Day, folks. Tomorrow is going to be the big day, which is actually a Thursday, to be a Friday, to be this, whatever. Anyways, we're supposed to be celebrating Canada Day. And, well, a lot of people don't want to celebrate Canada Day because of our conflict with the government from the past. That's fine. But I'm going down there to sell my wares. So I'm a crafter. So I'm only going down there to sell crafts, my indigenous crafts. That's my job. That's what I want to do. I enjoy it. They got a lot of teepees all set up in the Cloverdale Fairgrounds in Cloverdale here in British Columbia, Canada. And those are actually in the region. Please come down and see for yourself. If you guys want to come over and say hello, I'm in the Crafters Market. That's where they placed me. Last few years, I was actually right next to the teepees. But they decided to kick all the crafters out of the way and put them in towards the front of the gate. So now we don't get to see anything that's going on as far as the events are concerned. They got it all cut off. And they put the toilets in front of us. And so all we smell downwind are the toilets. So, anyways, it's fun. What can I say? Typical Trudeau. Toilets. Yeah. Anyways, we have some really interesting information that's going on, folks, all over, and that is, well, let's talk about Ramona Dudulo, RD, or she calls herself the Queen. She got herself in trouble. We'll talk about her later on. Canada Day. We also, a lot of you guys are wondering why we don't have Rob and Mix live in the studio. For far as seeing them, is because they're on I guess you say like a timing blackout in South Africa. They're actually based out of South Africa. And they can explain it all to you, the whole story. It's really crazy. And we already know why it's happening. And I thought, well, you know what? Instead of having to to explain it to you guys, these guys can explain it to you. But if you guys may not know who Rob Mercury is, the rumor is going around that he's called what's called the whiteboard wizard. So we're using that word for a bit. Rob says he likes the name, so we're calling the whiteboard wizard. I guess that's cool. And yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. So without no further ado, Rob and Mix, are you there?
Hello.
There, we got you.
Hey.
We got you.
We're in the dark.
You're in the dark. Uh-oh. Did they turn the lights off on you guys already?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't believe it, eh? It's going to be crazy where they like to turn the lights off on you guys. I don't get it. I really don't understand why their intention is to do that.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's just it goes with the continent. I guess.
Oh, just be honest.
I think all of you would know the answer to it. It's just it's just pure corruption, and has been here for decades, and it's finally catching up. And now the excuses are no longer viable. They've tried to say, "Oh, don't worry, we're fixing it. It's just a maintenance issue. It'll be done in 6 weeks or whatever." And that's been going on. He's a guy who's an expert, an energy expert, who used to work for the power supplier, and he said for 14 years this has been going on constantly. For 14 years.
Well, actually, or 25. Since the new government took over. Well, the old government built the
facilities.
Yeah, the facilities and maintained them and everything. Yeah. And then when the new government took over, like 27 years ago, or however long it's been now, it's maintained at all. And all the money's been siphoned out from through corruption and like, so there's no money for coal. There's no maintenance being done for 30 years. So yeah, this is where we find ourselves.
Yeah, it's a little bit
now,
of
do you guys really believe that's what it is? Or do you think there's underground tunnels being blown up or chasing the people underground trying to rescue those kids?
Oh yeah. That's a big part of it too. But we do have a very corrupt government, but we do have a very big network of tunnels as well.
Yeah, and we have some guys in the military that are vigilant, and now they're guarding the borders when they never did before. So that also gets you to think, well, why would the military suddenly be
interested in stuff like that?
Or the equipment to the borders and guarding them and stuff. What are they? What's that about? But it's obviously because of these routes that go out of South Africa into neighboring countries, so they can move counterfeits, illicit things, whatever it is. They can move it out easily, almost like between Mexico and the United States, something similar to that. Yeah.
So, if you want to give us a bit of a detail, what's going on there now, or have you guys been really dealing with active, say, military? Like, is your ground rumbling a little bit under you while where you're living, or If you give us a bit of an idea what's going on.
Oh, sorry, there's a little bit of a delay, but yeah, we live in an apartment block on the 3rd floor, so we're not on the ground, but we still feel it and hear it from underground. The rumbles. We heard them like during last year in COVID. We actually heard them digging under the tunnels, like those boring things.
Like a boring machine.
Like a boring machine.
Yeah.
We actually, because we live between a military base, the main courthouse for Cape Town, and some weird undercover CIA building.
Yeah, it's like an area in Cape Town where all of this serious.
And a hospital, yeah. So it's like.
And a military hospital at that.
At that, yeah.
It's a military hospital, so of
and
course,
a military base.
It's the only military hospital in the south of the entire country.
Yeah, there's only 2.
There's only 2, one in the north and one in the south.
Yeah.
Wow.
So all of the hardcore stuff, if anything has to be done with regards to that, you know it.
And I grew up on that military base from like toddler till 21 years old, and it's just up the road. It's like 3 blocks up the road. So they have to fly past our apartment block in order to get to the hospital to do the drop-offs from the extractions out of the dumps.
Was your family
tonight
in the military?
Oh, sorry.
Was your family in the military?
Yeah, my mom was a captain in the military for 38 years.
Your mom?
And my father was in the Navy.
Your mom was a captain?
My father was in the Navy.
Wow. Wow. That is cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, folks?
So I grew up on the base.
She's a military girl. Grew up in the base.
Yep.
She knows her stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. She still operates as one as well, my mom.
Yeah.
She's born and bred military chick.
Now,
yeah,
is your mom still in the military, or is your mom still in the military or not?
She just retired.
Oh,
after 38 years. She got her bronze medal for 10 years, her silver medal for 20 years, her gold medal for 30 years, and then if they even had a platinum, which they don't have, she would have got that too.
Wow.
For 38 years, yeah, just shy of 40.
So your mom is now. Was she in the military? Where was she stationed? Where was she mostly? Was that in Africa or somewhere else?
Yeah, she was here in the military base. She operated there, and she also went to go fight in for the UN in the DRC Congo.
Wow.
Like in the middle of everything, there was like warring things on either side of this forest, and they were like slap bang in the middle of the forest, and they just see like missile thingies like shooting over them, like from the one side to the other.
Your mom was full.
Like sort of in the middle.
Mom was full barrels, actually basically having to be in battle, so to speak. She was shooting back.
Yeah.
Wow.
They never they weren't allowed to be out of their kit. They had to, and it was like how many degrees heat? It gets really hot there. It's very tropical, and they had to have their full camo, full jacket, full AK-47 helmet, everything on all the time, 24/7, unless they were sleeping.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. They used to go with all their kits into the pool, into these like dams. They had like a dam on the holding where they were stationed, and they would get so hot they would literally go and dip in this dam with all.
So both you two actually, yourself, your mom and your dad are in the military, and also you've got Rob. Rob was in the military as well. So you grew up military all around you.
Yeah, all around, yeah.
I never did ask you guys, but how did you two meet? How was it like? What did Rob do? Did he show up and go like, "Hey, I'm in the military. Want to join me?"
I was like, oh no, not another one. I'm joking.
Well, we definitely had a lot to talk about when we met each other because, my dad was in the military and her dad, of course, obviously was in the military. In fact, her dad was in the Navy and he used to work on the submarines.
Yeah.
He was something called a millwright. Not everybody's familiar with the term a millwright, like mill as in MILL. I think it's RIGHT, I think, or RITE, is a person who's like an engineer. They deal with mechanical and electrical
engineer. Yeah. So he helped build our submarine fleet.
Wow. So he basically made sure that nothing sunk. I mean, it did sink, but didn't go down like as.
It sunk the right way.
It was able to go. It can sink, but it doesn't go doesn't flood. That's what it is.
Well, I think with Mix, how we met, just to answer that question, is that I was doing coffee. I have a contract with the large, there's like a government institution here that does uh, performances, ballet, dances, orchestra, all this kind of thing. It's the actual
Like a
state.
theatre, yeah.
It's the state-owned arts.
Cultural and arts event.
Yeah,
Exactly.
cultural and arts thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'd have it in Canada. You would have it everywhere. Like, for example,
Arts and culture, sorry.
yeah, arts and culture. The
Mm.
Opera House, for example, would be also part of that arts and performances division or whatever. And so I had a standing contract for over 10 years with them. So every year I would end up in this very stunning place, which was like a kind of an amphitheater, which is out there, with the stars above or whatever, and all these performances going on. And I would run the coffee for, for this department. And anyhow, long story short is I was a cappuccino guy there, just doing my thing with my staff. And along comes Nix. And so we started chatting at the coffee place. And then I just obviously realized that I couldn't date her. I had to recruit her because she was a military chick. So, I couldn't exactly just throw roses her way or whatever. It wasn't that simple. Yeah.
That's not going to do it for me. Sorry.
She's a girl with boots.
You
so,
realize
because
her version of a flower is actually an X bomb that actually blew away. That it looks like it's flowered out, and I say, hey, I love this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And she was Mix. You got quite a good track record on your sports record. When you were.
Oh yeah, anything physical, and I'm there. I'm like there.
Yeah. So you were. What did you do? Tell them you got a rep.
Yeah. So from junior, pre-primary already, I was doing gymnastics, training every day, 3 hours a day after school, every day of the week, Monday to Friday. Then I found out about swimming, and I was like, oh, I can swim too. And then I did first team swimming, junior and high, and then I did diving because it was exactly the same as gymnastics. And by the time I found out diving, I was already on the South African team for gymnastics, representing the country. And then from diving, because it was just the same as gymnastics, even all the moves were called the same thing.
Yeah.
Then I found out about synchronized swimming, and we weren't even on the map. Our school didn't do it. And the four of us that were on the diving team got together and were like, hey, let's start a synchro team. And then we actually ended up winning silver that year. The first time we actually joined the tryouts, and we actually got kicked butt. So that was fun. So anything physical, I'm there. I love it. Boots on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, boots on the ground. And then from my side, I did sports as well. I was basically I started judo when I had a sensei that was a 6th Dan, which is really, like, for those who don't know, 6th Dan is 6 black belts. And he was the highest qualified judo. He actually used to compete for South Africa, and he used to kick people's asses when he went to Japan. So he was the first person to start training people in South Africa. He brought judo to South Africa as a teacher and as a senior trainer, and yeah, he was actually British, and then settled in South Africa. And then he used to go to all the schools and train, training squads.
Yeah.
And so I started when I was a tiny kid. I mean, literally, I was like 7.5 or something when I started, and I didn't even know what I was doing. But I did 9 years worth of training with him, and so I'm pretty much black belt now. And it was a long road, but he was like my father. He was more of a father to me than basically my dad, because my dad was a very busy person, and so I was at boarding school a lot, and so that was my kind of. And then also I was involved in music. I was a songwriter for about 10 years, and used to perform, just sing. I was a singer and a songwriter, but more of a songwriter for people. And then I was also a freelance graphic designer, because I went to technical college and studied that, and I did a lot of work for people. And so that's sort of. And then the military, I was in the military for 2 years, quite short, but it actually extends to 4 years, because you do like voluntary stuff with them too if you decide to do it. Yeah. And I was in Signals, and Signals was when everything that also changed my life, because in Signals I ended up something out of the ordinary occurred, which then changed my, like with remote viewing and stuff. I got training in signals for remote viewing and for data assimilation, and actually quite sophisticated stuff. But my military was very
secret comms.
Yeah, my military was very tough. I was in an underground military base above, like on the surface, and there were various portions of us, and we were in a nuclear-proof base with a massive glass door that's like about 3.5 meters thick.
Yeah.
The building that was underground was actually suspended in water for shock waves or for any kind of attack. Then the building would not be affected structurally because it was
like a nuclear blast proof.
Yeah, it was in a chamber of water, but a big building, like huge, with about 1,000 telephones in it on one wall. So if any telephone rung, then we knew it was this guy or that guy or whatever it was. And there was intelligence, basically signals is intelligence. And that's really kind of the long and the short of it. And then last life, I was in the military as well. I was a military person all the way through my life. And then later on, I did private security stuff when I retired. And that's sort of the long and the short of me for now, I guess.
Long and short of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so we're talking about the dams. The military stuff.
Yeah, so you guys, I remember listening to Gene Code when he was actually saying that the DUMS in South Africa is the worst out of most of the locations. And then they said because there's so many underground tunnels that they've actually couldn't believe there was even 8 times the amount than any other country. I looked at some of the pictures and I couldn't believe it. It's almost like as if you took a shotgun and the shells just went everywhere scattered. And that was your underground tunnels under South Africa, all the lower part of Africa. And I'm going like, wow. So that means that, far as I would understand it, you guys are still in the middle of it yet. It still hasn't been completely cleaned up.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's we have the oldest, the deepest, and the longest.
To explain to you guys, to the listeners and our viewers, the reason why it's taking longer is because the Anunnaki and also the reptilians migrated to Africa first. And they actually were developing underground tunnels at that time, thousands of years before. So this has been going on for a long, long time. And then later on, they decided to invite the people of the surface, people like us, the government, if anybody who's working in government, to work alongside them, anybody who has actually used the word CORRUPT and are willing to work alongside of them to take children under the ground so then they can actually control and make use of them, not just for, some people say satanic purposes, more than you know. And so basically, there's a special alliance force who just said, enough is enough. God said, it's time. And he called upon his warriors, people like you and I, as well as even Rob and Mix. And Rob and Mix have been busy doing their work from their location. And I'm going to actually see if Rob would be interested. What would you think, Rob? Do you feel, and we'll see if we can try to do a remote view, do you think that the tunnels are still continuing or ending?
No, definitely ending. Look, black adrenochrome is the most highly sought after commodity in the world, actually. Yes. I mean, as far as the elite are concerned, they've got everything else. That's cheap and that's easy.
And by black adrenochrome, you mean people with dark colored skin.
Yeah.
Their adrenochrome is much more intense than people with light colored skin.
Exactly.
That's why it's so intense here. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why
it's about 1 million children that are missing every year.
That's why Oprah Oprah was actually she developed or created special locations for the children that never returned home to their families.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, do you feel that herself, that she was involved right from the beginning, or did she join halfway through her career, or around 3/4 of the way of her career?
Yeah, that makes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I couldn't quite hear what he said at the end.
No, he said, do you think she joined in the beginning of her career, Oprah, to promote to hook the kids in, the ones that didn't have family? You know, the Oprah, that
Yes,
Oprah
yes,
Foundation
yeah,
thing.
I know that one, yeah.
So did she do it from the beginning of her career, or did she join halfway through, or at the latest?
No, I'd say halfway through, because she was still being vetted by her media, by her mass media, kind of part of the, so it was like in the middle of her career. She was like sort of into what they were into and everything else. So she obviously made a move, and I mean, they always make moves with NGOs. It's like George Soros, all these people, they package the Clintons, whatever, like, the Clintons or the Rockefellers.
Yeah.
That's actually who they were before they got married, changed their name and whatever. So it's like, it's always done with the NGOs, like Bill Gates, Belinda, whatever. It's all these NGOs, like when they went to that country that had the, it was a country where
Haiti.
Haiti was an NGO extraction of children and whatever, taking advantage. Pretty crazy stuff. Also, some facts about South Africa.
Wait, I have to give a stat.
Oh, is it? Just give it.
I just want to give you guys a bit of reality on the amount of children that go missing here compared to everywhere else.
Yes.
Okay, so take America for example. They've got a population of probably about 350 million. We've got a population of 80 million. Okay, so now 2 years ago, in 1 year, America had 800,000 missing children in that 1 year, with that 350 million population.
800,000.
Us with our 80 million us with our 80 million population,
yep,
had 1.2 million missing children in 1 year, that same year.
That's from South Africa.
Yeah.
1.2 million folks, 1.2 million children gone missing. And I mean, and people are saying, how come they can't trust the police force? The police can't do anything about it. They're told to look away.
Yeah, they're told to turn a blind eye. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder who actually was telling them to look the other way. Would that be the president, or would that be people above the president?
It's the government, because the government's in with it, and the government pays their salaries.
Well, like when I was with, I can answer that. When we did a G&D code and we were together doing Africa, and the African continent, he said to me, "Hey Rob, let's do this together." I said, "Cool, awesome." So we had a meeting, and then we did a 3-hour decode on it, and basically, like South Africa is controlled by the City of London through corporations like Anglo American, which is one of the largest mining corporations on planet Earth. Yes. It is absolutely massive. It's run by a family called the Oppenheimers, and they
sound familiar.
Yeah, sound familiar. So the thing is that, and their job was to extract the minerals for the City of London, and actually the Queen of England, which is Cecil John Rhodes. You guys maybe have heard of Cecil John Rhodes somewhere, but he was the guy that handled Africa. He was the project manager for the deep state that came down here to, organize themselves down here. So, but Nigeria is in cahoots with South Africa. So the actual point is to also the children for human trafficking and various other things have an agreement to route things through Nigeria. And in that Africa Dumb decode with G&D code,
Yeah.
I spoke quite a bit about Nigeria and the business agreements that we have, the secret business agreements that I know of, because of course I know people in intelligence. So I used to get intelligence about who was making a deal with who,
Yeah.
that type of
Yeah.
thing. And if you want to understand Africa, then you have to understand something called, which you people will not be familiar with, is an entity called Black Axe.
Black X.
Black Axe.
Axe, like
Black
a like a
axe.
ha like a
Like a
Axe, AXE,
yeah, with a blade.
okay. Black axe.
as in chopper.
Okay.
Yeah, AXE. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we like with and now you're talking at the global stage. So like you're on a global stage. So you've just got to kind of imagine now, like who would be running South America, because, or who would be running North America, and then the Far East, yeah, and then who would be running the African continent? Definitely not Europeans, because people are very scared of high-powered African, organized crime. It's very dangerous. So the people who run the continent of Africa is Black Axe, and those are the people who handle all of the trafficking of anything. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's drugs or whether it's children or whether it's military weapons.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
They even traffic food. They like traffic oil. People think that oil is always, of course, it's trafficked, and they say the oil comes from somewhere else, when it actually comes from over here, or the food, gets removed and whatever. So they have all these different systems in place. But the good news, because we've got to do the good news part here, is that the Herschel Willie Williams is a name of a Navy SEAL military platform. Think of something like an aircraft carrier, but not an aircraft carrier.
It's like a floating military base.
Yeah.
With submarines, helicopter landings, everything on it.
Yeah.
Sounds
And
like a
the
little bit
Herschel
of that.
would
Sounds like a little bit of that Marvel type of flight system. Because they
yes,
have
it's a
these,
very
they have these bases in the sky. People don't realize, folks, these. If you guys are watching any Marvel movies, and you'll see these bases levitating in the skies, these actually really do exist. You guys think that they don't, but they do. This is not just CGI. These really do exist, and they actually are hidden in the clouds, and they've been busy doing their thing for the longest time. And people keep on thinking, "Oh no, you're just mad." No, it's not. It's this is Marvel gets its ideas, or they tell them to do it. So they're just showing you people, slowly exposing, saying this is normal. Like, does that make any sense?
Well, I have a group that I'm in touch with called, I mention sometimes my videos in passing at the very end. There might be a note in a video. So every now and again it pops up, called Ultraviolet.
Yes.
And that's kind of ultraviolet stuff, which is beyond top secret, whatever. But and people like, some guys on YouTube have a lot to say. Some people are saying, but there is a leak, on ultraviolet stuff. But what I tend to stick to is just on you always see things in the physical universe, regardless of where, of what actions are being taken.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of the cruise ship, the container ship.
Container ship.
Industry has been captured. They can't use it to transport. You see, transport is really important on this planet. Okay, so if you usurp, or if you curtail the container ship, especially when it comes to smuggling of anything.
Well, transport is the trafficking business.
It's the trafficking business is transport. So you've got trucking and you've got your container ships. And if you capture both of those, like the borders, why are countries protecting their borders? Because so that you eclipse the efforts of organized crime. This planet, the amount of money, you got to think in terms of trillions of dollars.
Yes.
Okay, because of on a global level, we're talking trillions, and the amount of money that is generated through the trafficking and through organized crime on this planet is more than the acknowledged commercial setting. It's more. So we think that BlackRock is in charge of what, 4 trillion, 4.5 trillion, or 3 trillion or something. Well, the trafficking is more like 10 trillion, or it's easily double. So there is a protection. It's something I'm going to be releasing in a video. So you guys protect my research. Whoever's listening, do not allow people to steal my, my stuff I'm going to put out. But just to let you know that this is why it is with Q. Why?
You can't say that word.
Why can't I say it?
Because it's on YouTube.
If you're standing in the queue,
if you're standing in the
then
17,
you're gonna,
use
if
your
you're standing
alphabet.
in the queue,
Yeah.
then you will now understand why there is this whole games effect that's going on. You know, I'm quite big on my games effect stuff. It is like a Super Bowl game, and so it just shows you why it's taking so long, because of this. Because we think that the cabal are people that we know, we see large signs on buildings, corporate logos, and we think we're dealing with that, like with Walt Disney or news entities. We know their names. We see, but that's like 1/3 of really the real wealth. That the other part of it is not seen, not spoken about, not ever mentioned on mainstream. It's kept from us completely. So we only think that the globalists are
the enemy,
are people that we can see on a YouTube video, or popular names that I mentioned, and those people are really just fish paste in comparison to the real, genuine article, which of course never gets seen ever, and never gets mentioned.
Allowed to see it.
We don't even know their names. They have code names. They don't even use. Most people don't even know what their real names are.
Yeah.
And this goes back to where? Where does it go back to? I'll give you an example of how much power they have. Would you like an example?
Sure.
Okay, yes. Let me give you an example. And like the only person on YouTube or on on Derek's show that this is a good drop, truth drop, is have you ever heard of something called the CCP?
Yes.
Okay, right. The CCP looks pretty powerful, doesn't it? It looks pretty strong and kind of something to be reckoned with. The CCP that run China, right? Okay, well, these you can call them underworld. So whenever I say organized crime, I mean the underworld. Okay, so the underworld, one of their projects, just one out of a whole batch of projects, was to establish the CCP and implement it into China and install it there. So that means that they captured 1.2 billion slaves. So they have a slave, this sort of slave masters, the CCP, and they have China at their disposal, which is 1/7 of the planet to work for them. Kind of that economy. They own that economy. They own the CCP, which is just a small project. So it gives you orders of magnitude.
And then that wraps up, that ties into the Black Axe as well.
Yeah.
Because these underground powers that be, not for much longer though, have their tentacles in every single country. And they run the globalists, actually. They do.
If I may remember
They've got
correctly, about a year and a half ago, there was 4 to 5 African presidents that were killed.
Yeah, they were all.
Whereas any of them actually good, or were they all bad?
No, those were the good ones who were in defiance. That weren't cooperating.
The people who wouldn't take the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember one president. I watched his video where he was talking about the C-19, and he said that he took the swab and he touched the plant, fish, and a turtle, a cactus, a pawpaw. Sorry, it was a fruit, and they all had the same thing. So basically, the swab itself actually was already tainted before he even touched it, but everything became positive. So no matter where, he says he already knew that the swabs were tainted. So when he said that he refused even to follow the criteria, and then within that month, he died.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking,
Exactly.
okay, who actually knocked him off? Because they said he died of a heart attack. Well, how can he die of a heart attack when he always believed in health? So people, there are such things called a heart attack gun, and if they want you out of the way, sorry, that's how it works.
Yeah. That's how it works, and it shows you how much leverage they have. This is not something I'm necessarily like insisting that people believe, but I'll tell you that there was a group that I belonged to, a very private group. I don't think you could call them a society. Yes, they were a secret group, but they weren't a secret society, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like that typical like stupid bullshit that those people get involved with. But basically, I had a handler for 27 years. So if people wonder where does Rob Mercury come from, well, I managed to eventually discover that this group had been captured very, very quietly. The one thing about the CIA is the CIA are the sneakiest MFers you've ever come across in your life. They are the sneakiest, most shrewdest people. The whole point is if they infiltrate an organization, it must remain absolutely undetected. They can infiltrate and that is what the cabal are experts at. They're expert at secret service, and who runs the governments, or how are they run? Where do they get the instructions from? How do they know what they're supposed to be doing, or who's supposed to meet who, when they're supposed to meet, what they're supposed to say, why they're supposed to say it, what are they supposed to negotiate for? It all is pre-scripted, and Area 51 has something to do with with what is prescribed. The actual planning of global intelligence infrastructure comes out of Area 51. Sorry if people think it's not, but that's what it's for, and that's why no one's allowed to go there. Only one of its functions. We know that it's got ultraviolet application. One of the things that they deliver there is special training, advanced psi training. Psi is PHI, which is PSI.
PSI. Yeah.
Sorry, PSI, which is actually a spiritual acronym. It's an acronym for group spiritual intelligence in their application.
With abilities.
Yeah, with abilities. So if you are an officer and in the military and you
have this ability,
then they will
give you the appropriate training for that ability.
Yeah, they'll give you some, give you a bit of a turbocharge on those abilities, the sort of intuition, and then they show you how to apply it. And you've got to understand that advanced psi is invisible. It's something that can't be seen because it works off the knowingness of like on a spiritual capacity.
Yes.
It's very practical.
It's like militarized spirituality.
Yeah, there you go. And so one of the things that I do is I'm like, I'm not a whistleblower. I'm not a guru. I'm not a cosmic, sort of orgasmic chakra type of guru person.
Yeah.
But the one thing I do on the whiteboard is you could say it's kind of like whistleblowing on the engineering and mechanics of advanced life, but in a military application.
Here's one for you. This is good, Rob.
Okay.
I'll tell you something right here. I mean, when you mention the word CIA, there is someone actually that you may know of, Michael Jaco, and he's supposed to be ex-CIA. There are people out there right now that are basically clickbaiting people, and one person or group of people right now are saying that Michael Jaco is not what he is. So whether he is there or not, for what he's saying, or anyone else, like there's a lot of people out there that are, I mean, I can name names right now of all these people that have been trying so hard to get people to wake up, and yet there's someone clickbaiting them, and they're trying to make them not who they are. And now there are, whether you believe them or you don't. And I tell people this: you have to you have to filter what feels right for you. Because if you can't filter it and trust it, your own intuition, then you'll never be able to trust anything. That's what intuition is about.
No, go. Continue.
Okay. So basically, for example, right now, Michael Jaco is being picked on, and I like the guy. I mean, I like his forwardness. He's trying to be very spiritual, try to help people out. And the same with Simon Parks. I know about Scott McKay, Charlie Ward, like people like them. I mean, even Janine. I mean, I've known Janine for a long time. I know her. It's Tarot by Janine. I've known her here in Canada for a long, long time. Now they're clickbaiting, saying that she's not who she is. Like, they're really going too far. And I know of her personally. So, I mean, they're looking for the worst in people than they are trying to find the positive. Does that make any sense?
I think that it makes sense but on the other hand, you see, the person's got to be, you have to be able to demonstrate your intuition. You have to be able to demonstrate your prowess. If you are a person who's going to put something into the future, which then is going to arrive in present time, so like a prediction, okay? Then you ought to be like, I've made predictions about lots and different things, but I put it in engineering and mechanics, into ESP engineering and mechanics, like application. So it's very practical. It's very obvious. Sometimes it requires a decode by people. Like I recently, now it's just come to fruition. Another one of my predictions I've done lots of predictions. Is that something along the lines of neither alive nor dead. I said we were going to be getting our instructions and our emotions, like our information from something neither alive nor dead. And so we had a little competition on the Rob Mercury Telegram chat, whatever. Get people interested in what that means. And that was ages ago.
And everybody was guessing as to what it was, this neither alive nor dead thing.
And then, and now, finally, we're sitting in present time in June, July, which was exact months. I told people June, July. We would get disclosure, and we would get education, and there was a couple of other things I mentioned. What was it?
Yes, what we're doing right now. Education.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's the very same month that Q just arrived back. Oops.
Yep.
If you're in the queue.
If you're in the queue, arrived back. And also that virus program McAfee.
Yes.
Neither alive nor dead.
Neither alive nor dead.
You
And
know,
so is the person in the
you
queue.
guys actually,
Okay.
Rob, a few months back, you did a prediction about 107. If you want to let our listeners know, how did you guys do with 107? Like, is apparently what I understood, 107 actually was so impressed that he even tried to get a hold. Did he try to get a hold of you?
Well, what he does is, yeah, he actually he has gotten hold of us. Yes, what he did, well, that was, yeah, this was age, where was
Yeah,
it?
it was
2000 and, yeah, what he did was he gave me the number of 7 times 17. So I ended up getting a bank account to help to fundraise my channel for doing good work, because we decoded his name. We were the only people that decoded and made a prediction about him, and his name has a special meaning. So we put out a video on that, which hardly anybody noticed. I mean, we've got like 1,000 views or something. And yeah, and
then after a while, it went sort of like pretty well. We got like, I think it's sitting at 43,000 views now at the moment. And then the one on and then it flew around Telegram as well. Yeah.
Oh, it's getting bigger every week.
Eventually, yeah.
So we went to the bank and we got a card from the bank and a PIN code.
Sealed envelope.
In a sealed envelope on the same day of registering the account, where you go in there, you register, you put your names down, whatever, bang, bang, bang. When you finish, they give you an envelope. You open it up, it's private. As soon as you get it, you get a card, you get a number, a PIN code. And but without my choosing, that was just delivered, straight after. The card runs on everything. The account is 2 times 17, and the code on the card is, there is a special code on, and I know that Derek has seen it, so he's kind of like
witness to it.
There's a few people that have seen it, and it's 51 Osiris, and when he made the movie, after we decoded his name, he put the code into his movie called The Call, and the code that he put into the movie was 51 Osiris. So I guess, and then the PIN code, of course, is also 17.
Also comes up to 17.
So Osiris is 17.
Yeah, so it's like he awarded Rob those numbers and that and the Osiris code, because like he always says, we have to win our numbers back, and we have to undo what's been done. So he awarded Rob Osiris, because Rob's the only one that can deal with her, and 51 from Area 51. And then in the video, he still says 51 times 17, 17 times 3 equals 51, Area 51, Osiris. And he actually says that in the video as he's driving on the highway. And he, first of all, he put in petrol at the petrol station, at the gas station. He puts in $51.51. And that's where he starts the story. That's where he starts that little insert of it. So it was like a little tip of the hat to us.
So what we've got here, just quick, Derek, is that we've got 107 that communicates using numbers. And you'll find in my videos, I'll do a video on reason, like I did the scale of energies.
Yes.
Okay, there are a lot of, if there are any Reiki masters in your audience, or energy workers or light workers or whatever, well, we're dealing with energy. And I have a special Rob Mercury scale of energies, which classifies all 7 energies and how they get used and where they can be observed, but in the real world. And then it comes out on the scale of energy. So which, you're dealing with this, including that or whatever. And so with 107, if I mention something, in the scale of energies, I mention reason and how man is being prevented, the condition of man, the state of man, the state of affairs, is we're at war because, why is it an information war? Because we are not allowed to get up to a point of reason. We're being prevented from achieving the energy because reason is actually an energy. Most people don't know that. And so we're not allowed to access the energy of reason, because of course that would have our world straighten out into something understandable. So we have to remain in a world that can't be helped and that can't be clearly understood, which is below reason. Okay, if you can get that as an idea. And then Juana Saban then mentioned reason and says how it's being destroyed and being distorted into things that are irrational. And if you look at the news, if you look at the events, if you look at the arguments, the political, arguments, and Ukraine and the food plants burning down in America. You look at Canada and how Trudeau's behaving like a complete arse. And you look at these weird Davos, strange kind of Davos, and it's all weird and all strange, and it's very devoid of reason, and it's contradictory, and it's something similar to Queen Roma. It doesn't make any sense. No one can seem to add it up or think with it. And that is the whole intention, because it's a spiritual war. And the last thing they want is for a spiritual being to discover that he is one.
And yet that's another story. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Those are actually joining us, folks. Thank you for being part of Between Two Worlds, Shadow Chasing tonight. We do have Rob Mercury and Mix, his lovely wife, and we're talking about a variety of matters that relates to where we are today. And so they are living in South Africa, and then so many things have been happening to them because they're in a scheduled blackout in their country where they're living. This is a scheduled blackout. So I would say this is the beginning, beginning of the OBS, or whatever you want to call it, basically is operations. They are still trying to bring back a lot of the children from underground, and they're still rescuing them, and there's still more to do. It's not done yet. It's almost done. But they just have to be patient, but yet they will let the public, the people above the ground, get them to believe that the government actually didn't pay their bill. So why should the public suffer of having lesser amount of electricity, and they schedule it? Doesn't make any sense. But again, that was warned over 2 years ago by President Trump, and JFK Jr. did say, be prepared. Things are going to begin to happen, and it will begin in around the beginning of May and June, and it did, and it will happen. And they did say it will happen somewhere beginning either in South Africa or in other countries, because actually it did happen in Taiwan, it happened in China, and now in South Africa. It'll come into the US eventually, as well as Canada and other parts of the world. And still they've created distraction that Russia's supposed to be attacking the Ukraine. And now they're saying just recently that they've already cleaned up all what's left in the Ukraine, so they don't have to attack it anymore. Everybody basically capitulated. So now Russia's back to being normality. Everybody's avoiding that part. Now they're going to try to do something else. So again, distraction, distraction, distraction. Why the word distraction? There's a good one for you. Why do we have to be distracted to learn something from a specific certain matter? So we're forced to believe of one symptom of illness for 2 years, then to be jabbed, to believe, again, distraction. People fight to survive, distraction. People will protest, again, distraction. People will go out and drive the highway with their vehicles, truckers, you name it, distraction. Then they're saying we want our freedom, distraction. People being jailed, distraction. And even to this day, right now, there are people that are like, for example, the Aussie Cossack. He was jailed yesterday. They put him in prison. He won't be able to get out of prison for at least a year because he was standing up for his freedom. And so the corrupt judges put him there to shut him up because he knows too much. But because he's Russian as well, they said that he's a threat to Australia. A threat to Australia. So they put him in their jail to keep him silent. Tamara Leach, who also is one of the trucking leaders of the Freedom Convoy, she was put back in prison because she opened her mouth and she was standing up for freedom. And they put her back in jail. Who put her back in jail? The politicians, to silence her, to keep her mouth shut. We have Freedom George, who got released a few weeks ago. He was wanted to say what he wanted to say, but I watched Freedom George when he left prison. He was there for 50, what did they say, 100 over 100 days, like not over almost 3.5 months. He was in prison since the time, and they finally released him. But Freedom George was never the same after. This man became very different. He acted different. You know why, folks? Because when you're behind bars and they take your freedom away from you, you're not the same person when you leave. Been there, done that. I know what it's like. It took me a long time to feel my freedom again because I always had to watch my back. Then there's a fellow by the name of Pat King, who's still in prison. They won't let him out, even though he never was the leader, but they're making Pat King a martyr. They're making it where he is the biggest threat in Canada. They want to make him, and Trudeau wanted to make him, but Prime Minister Trudeau wants to be the biggest terrorist in our country, and he's not. He's a humble man, and all he was trying to do was help other people. Again, distraction. Everything now today, if you look at it, folks, even in the U.S., watch what's happening in the U.S. Protest. Right now they have Roe versus Wade, distraction. Okay? Babies to be born, not to be aborted, distraction. Whatever happened to the jabs again? Forgotten. Nobody's in a hurry to get jabbed again. But they're saying, oh, well, in the fall, we're going to do it again. Distraction. They want to make you believe, to be worried what's going to happen next. Distraction. Why are they distracting us? Because they don't want us to have that freedom thinking that we can do whatever we want to live our life freedomly. I use that word L-Y because those extra two letters, L-Y, freedomly, because there is an L-Y, not just freedom. Because free is who we are, free thinking, free thought, free will. Dumb, you actually got the D-O-M or D-U-M. How dumb are you to think that you're still free? Because you're not.
Yeah.
Well said.
And yeah, well, with blackouts, yeah, you're right, distraction, exactly. Because every time we have a blackout, almost every time, it actually started, about 2 years ago. We started having our blackout just when COVID started, and there were a lot of military operations. Like we said, they have to fly past our apartment block to get to the military base, land the chopper on the top of the hospital roof, and they, like, we would, and they only do it under the cover of night. They wait for it to go out, the lights to go out, they cut the power, and it's nighttime, and then all these choppers just come out of the dark, and it's pretty hectic. And then so in the beginning of COVID, the beginning of 19, there were a lot of extractions from the dumps with the kids.
Exactly.
And when the helicopters, the choppers used to fly over, we still made a video about it. We still got a few of the recordings of them flying over, and like I could feel the energy inside, and I was like, whoa, man, that's a lot of pain. That's a lot of pain right there. And then Rob was getting visuals as well as the pain, and he could, like, the one time there was this little girl. She was like a hybrid. Yeah. And she literally passed away as they flew over the block of flats. She didn't make it to the hospital. Oh, and she couldn't see the light. The light was hectic for her eyes. She had, like, her skin was all clammy, and And yeah, so
Blue,
she
blue
didn't.
eyes.
Yeah, blue eyes, and she didn't make it. And then the kids went on for a couple of months. But they would fly in tandem or like in groups of 3 or 4 helicopters at a time. The one would circle, and they always do the same route. The one would circle over the block, over our apartment
Very
block.
bright light.
Yeah, very, very bright floodlight, because they're now checking out if anybody's seeing them dropping off these kids or dropping or around the military base. So they'd scan the environment first, do 2 or 3 rounds over the apartment block, and then go and drop them there. And then the moment that one leaves, the next one comes ready with its drop off, and that one goes back to fetch another key. About 4 of them in tandem, right after each other, and then you don't see them for about half an hour, and then they come back with a fresh load of extraction.
And then the other interesting thing is that the military hospital was completely closed down.
Yeah, closed down. They said it was closed because of COVID.
Why.
And because
distraction.
Whoops. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So and then the children stopped.
Yeah.
Because basically all the attractions for the kids were done.
Because they kept on
and
saying
then they
kept on saying the children had to get jabbed. Distraction. Then I want to give a big shout out for Catherine. She says huge shout out to the Seven Oaks Hospital in Winnipeg, Manitoba, in Canada. They were amazing, she said, and they respected my values and morals. Still some good doctors and nurses out there. And she said, I think they're waking up. Distraction.
Distraction.
Waking up distraction.
So then the kids were all sorted out, most of it, and then we started feeling the energies coming over with the drop offs from the extractions were actually now the soldiers. Because now that the kids are out, now the soldiers are having to fight whatever's down there. So then we could feel that it was the soldiers that were being brought in with injuries and, serious stuff that needed to be dealt with at the hospital. So because the energy was totally different.
Yeah, totally,
it wasn't helpless. It wasn't in pain. It wasn't. It was like an action feeling. It was like a duty feeling. Like that's the energy it had. So. And then the funny enough, tonight we actually took footage of it tonight, just before we had our power cut in the evening. The moment it went dark, they cut the power, and we had helicopters flying over the flat again. And we haven't had it in quite a while, about 2 or 3 months. We haven't had any helicopters. And then tonight again, just before the interview, and we rode up to the military base to try and get a nice angle, because they have to fly over that certain parking area to get to the landing pad.
Yeah.
At the hospital, and we went up there and maybe got a little bit of footage, but they're so fast. These new helicopters are insane.
Yeah. Okay, here
they're
we
really,
go.
Really fast.
Here's when I share with you guys. We're going to talk about QD or QRD, okay, which is we call the dual. It says here 3 days ago, how the self-proclaimed Queen of Canada is causing true harm to her subjects. This actually is in the newspaper. This is the news media, folks. It says,
wow,
the sovereign citizen movement is expanding rapidly and can now be found in at least 26 countries. The movement is anti-government in nature, and its followers believe they're immune from the laws of their government. They also have a proclivity for violence, as demonstrated by a number of high-profile incidents, including an armed standoff in Massachusetts in July 2021. As a behavioral scientist and researcher of this movement, I have been monitoring RD, a conspiracy influencer based in British Columbia who has proclaimed herself as Q of Canada, Commander-in-Chief, Head of State Government, and President National, and also called President and National Indigenous Chief of the Kingdom of Canada. She's not Indigenous Chief, but they say she's claiming herself to be. Recently, D has promoted herself to Queen of the World. I'm the Queen of the World. She sounds like she's on. She's actually on the Titanic, I think. She tours Canada in a recreational vehicle, accompanied by an entourage. They hold meet and greets where Dulo speaks formally. These are recorded and posted on multiple channels on Telegram, an encrypted messaging app. Woohoo! DD has nearly 66,000 followers, known as the IAMs, IAMS. They are currently raising funds to purchase a new 65,000 RV for their new queen a new RV for the queen because 3 broke down. D is a sovereign citizen of the different varieties. She espouses a dogma comprised of a mixture of conspiracy theories, pseudo-legal sovereign. That was supposed to be turned off. Somebody.
Naughty.
Whoops. Sorry, guys. Hang on.
Sounded like an expose on QDR.
Somebody's actually very angry with me right now, and I'm going to go back live again. Here we go. Yeah. See what happens when I had my phone turned off, and then everybody's mad at me right now because I just finished talking about her, and now they're sending me some negative, like, how dare you?
Yeah.
She tells her followers of supernatural abilities she claims to have become invisible by cloaking herself. Really? This power is not unusual for beings of her rare race. She says she's not of this earth. She is a member of highly advanced alien race. She says she's an Arcturian, an alien being with special celestial powers. Well, if she is, that's fine. They possess beds, according to Dudulo, are advanced healing chambers. Here's the thing that gets me. She says that they have med beds. Now, she never knew anything about med beds until we mentioned about it. So
exactly.
Everything that we say now, she says she's Arcturian. I know she's not Arcturian because she doesn't have that feeling of Arcturian. I mean, I've been on the freaking ship. I know, or some other people. There's something about her that I don't trust. I'm sorry, I don't. That's just me. That's it. I'm sorry. She says Dedula are advanced healing chambers that cure medical ailments, regrow limbs and organs. Yes, it's true. Reverse aging can even make one immortal. Yes, it's true. She promises full access to these beds, complete with their miracles of all of her followers. Oh, she's going to lead you to the med bed. Okay. Telegram post suggests that many of her followers are fervently awaiting her promised technology, possibly delaying legitimate medical care. Oh my God, it's getting crazier and crazier. She's making proclamations. This is getting to be too much. No, I can't go any further with this. She's making new claims. Everything that she's seeing on the internet now, she's making claim of that it's her idea. So anything that we've already known for the last 2.5, 3 years. I mean, there's things I've known about. My God, I've known about since 2003, and she's actually saying, "Oh, I knew about that." She didn't know nothing. I remember watching her over 2 years ago when she showed up on film, not using any purple jacket, no purple flag. She wore a man's tie and a shirt to look like a man, with a Canadian flag hanging on the wall behind her in her little room. A Canadian flag. And she calls herself a queen of Canada then. But yet she says she'll take that flag that she's got now, that it's the official flag, and that one behind her is not where you're supposed to stand behind. You hung the damn thing behind you. You began your stupid crap. Come on, give me Dedula, you're a nutcase, I'm telling you. Anyways, that's just me.
You're not alone.
Well, just to help you qualify that statement, I mean, there are a lot of stuff lying around. All I can say is that the one thing that she does know is she knows that there's no proper, real authority that is running Canada at this time. She knows that. She's not that stupid. She knows that. So she's claiming jurisdiction. It's like a political tour bus. In the end, it's going to boil in the end, what it is a political. But my prediction still stands. I made it 2 or 3, 4 months ago. I don't know, 5 months ago, whatever.
February.
Yeah, February. And the codes are sitting in that prediction. and I put an ethics order out on her. And so, and I said, and I'll say again, like I said before, that that my ethics orders end up coming true, so she can do what she wants, she can dress and say what she wants, claim what she wants. But that was written and it was posted on my group in full view.
Yeah.
On your channel.
On my channel, so people can say, look, okay, this is what Rob said then, and this is what seems to be happening. And then the other thing is that the jurisdiction, if you want to understand her definition, which hasn't been defined, what is the kingdom of Canada?
Her kingdom.
Which is something she
claims
to have established. Well, there is a kingdom of Canada, and the kingdom of Canada is the bus. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you
now,
walk
to
the bus,
I heard just recently, before you go any further, I heard just recently that she was apparently supposed to be some sort of a secret agent at one time, and she was told that she had to go to someone's location and blow up a bus, and she burned her lips on the tailpipe.
yeah, she's. And the one thing that Gene Decode did, we did another, I did a video with him, and he rightfully, I did a very awesome video on Gene, and I just want people I wanted to clarify his, his position, do this video with him, and we kind of, it's a good video to refer to. Because Gene's a very good friend of mine, and I've had people try and turn me against him.
Yeah.
They were quite crafty. It was a genuine clandestine sort of operation. Yeah, they tried. They were very shrewd, very clever. Try to interest me in this and that. And I just blew it off because I don't go with people who have got secret inside information, sort of quote, and there are people that have asked me about Gene or whatever, and obviously with Roma, the person, whatever, QR or whatever. But like I said, there's a video that tells you who she is and where she gets her instructions from. And the one thing you need to put into perspective, and I said this a long time ago, maybe the only guy that's saying it, because I'm much more open about her than Gene is. He doesn't want to, he's like done with that, but he's sort of made his, he's put out his instruction and made it clear. But from my side, think about Canadian intelligence and how rattled they became when the trucker distraction thing happened and all that drama of half the
leading
country.
Up to it as well. Yeah.
Right. So Canadian intelligence said, oh, we must have screwed up. We actually cocked up. We didn't run our intelligence properly. So what do you have to have if you didn't run your intelligence properly? You have to run a field exercise to reestablish what people are thinking.
Yep.
And there you get a woman in purple with a bus, with a brand, that is there to whip up action on social media so that it can be tracked with the AI.
Yep. And basically she's going to be, she want to paint her bus purple, and she'll bring in a purple dinosaur. But that's been done before. So, I mean, I'm telling you guys, this is getting to be, I mean, there are people out there going to try to everyone wants to try and trust people as much as they can, especially in Canada. We're very trustful people. We want to give people the chance, we give people an opportunity. But the only thing, like I said before, I tell people this: I listen to Gene Code myself, and I heard Gene Code's words at the very beginning. One time he said, yes, she's supposed to be good. She was placed there for a reason, was to help us. Then, with a matter of months, Gene Code was I guess to say he had to go through a new revision, and it was told after, he says that she's not okay, a white hat, nor is she a black hat. She's a gray hat. That means
Correct.
she can go both ways. Sounds like she's both ways. She can go both ways.
More ways than one.
More ways than one. Now, people are saying recently, they said that when one time when they made a stop, she got out of the bus, went to one of the washrooms, and when she came back out, she was never the same. She was somebody else. So I'm thinking, I wonder if somebody changed bodysuits. Ah,
Well,
think about that.
yeah, well, the thing is that on my video, I did 5 videos on her that were very direct. And I just said the one thing you're going to find is controversy. Everything is
Arguments.
arguments.
What you said. Yeah.
Arguments.
She's put in place to cause arguments. And what are arguments? Distractions.
Exactly. We're
And
distraction again. The night is distraction.
And yeah, yes, it is. And if you look at the algorithms of Facebook, of Twitter, of other media tracking devices, of which each of one hold one in our hands. Okay, we all got one. Those supercomputers track the algorithms, and anything that is a controversy or an argument or an ongoing discrepancy will always be picked up, and that's how they're tracking how effective their field study is on intelligence. It's all about intelligence. It's got nothing to do with the real world. It's fabricated, and it's something called augmented reality. It's augmented.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's a psyop that is plugged into social media algorithms to see how many people respond to it.
To gauge.
Yeah, to gauge the sort of intelligence of the Canadian. The one thing about Canada is, where does it all get its money from? We know that Canada is heavily involved and is fighting against Putin in Ukraine. We also know that Canada is one of the largest key, golden key supporters of the United Nations. And so there is a lot of money, a few billion over the last 20 years, has been invested into the mind control, like social engineering, of Canadians to be these righteous, upstanding, very disciplined, caring, and type of responsible people, to be certain that they back United Nations kind of sentiments and ideas and everything, because that's super important for their agreement. Because remember that the Kabbalah are all about agreement. So they want people to agree and whatever else. So it's all kind of linked up to protect that UN force field that's been established as an example, because so it's quite convoluted, and it's made complicated. Remember that my definition for the word evil is complicated. So when it's complicated, it's evil, and anything that's complex is designed to not be tracked, understood, or observed. No matter how good one's perception is, it's always too convoluted to make reason out of. Okay, and then the other thing about this Roma person, because I call the person Roma, because Roma is something that it looks slightly androgynous, if you get my idea. And he's also moving around, Roma, on the move, roaming all the time, like a gypsy woman.
Yeah.
Okay. Forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, just remember that when you step onto the bus, you're in the kingdom. When you get off the bus, you're no longer on the kingdom.
And 3 meters around the bus. That's why she always stands and addresses people in front of the bus. She'll always stay close to it, because that's her Your territory kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the
The
domain.
yeah.
But I mean, I just wanted to also be certain, Derek, just to check if anyone had any questions or wanted to say hi.
Yes,
we should,
we've got
just
people in
see
the
if we can
chat
ask
room
a question.
here. Hang on a second. There are people that know you, of you. Magoo Miracles, and let's see here. Sandra Gottman, Robin Mix. They are the real dynamic duo. Let's see here. We got Nick in the chat room, Nick and Catherine. We've got, let's see, Anton. Anton just loves you guys. Absolutely. He goes, thank, and the Q on the end of it. Mentions it, talks about Oppenheimer, Khazar equaled as hell. And let's see here. Anton. Let's see. Anna Marie said hello to Kevin Thompson. Kevin actually is, he's one of my good friends that I've known for many years. He himself actually was in the military too as well. He was actually assigned to be he was actually one of the soldiers that was assigned in Guantanamo Bay in Gitmo years back when President Obama was president, and a lot of nasty stuff took place there when he was there. When he watched it as a witness, he did not like it. He's in the chat room. Catherine is in the chat room, and let's see here. We got Catherine says, I had to face my shadow last night, the darker side. I don't like to reflect on, but I was in a huge dilemma. Well, I'll tell you this, folks. Last night, it's kind of an interesting energy. Was a little different. Okay, Sandra says, concern over these children being brought into human society using the emotions of the mothers. These children are of a hive mind. This is how the Draco planned to come back into our society. Well, they did plan, not now they will be able to. Draco cannot plan back because it's already been taken care of. They're just cleaning up what's left. The Draco's not back here anymore. They're done. Now, Thomas also says all that remains more spoof movies like UHF and Hot Shots and Naked Gun, so that we can laugh all the way through. Though it was all true, I laugh at a lot because I feel what is real. That's true. You know, you gotta laugh at life, man. I'm telling you, if you get too serious, you get stuck. I mean, I'll vent, but I have to put humor in it, because if I don't, I'll drive myself freaking nuts. That's a distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you gotta distract yourself away from the negative, because people love to put the negative. I mean, the word.
Yes.
Here's an idea. Let's break up this word called distract, shun. What do you think the word distract, shun means individually? Even if it sounds that way.
It's called misdirection. David Copperfield.
Oh man, he means the breakdown of the word. What does this mean on its own? Tract and shun.
Yeah, well, it equates to misdirection.
Well,
in the end.
this is a negative.
Yeah.
Like some people say, well, you know, why are you dissing me? That means like avoiding.
Yes.
Attract, TRACT. Sometimes people think attract as in, or not to attract, but tract means grab, hold, contain.
Traction.
Right?
Like yes.
Traction. And then there's shun.
Yeah.
Shun, you can use the phonetic word of shun, SHUN, like you're removing, or I'm avoiding it.
Shunning it, yeah.
You're shunning it. So if you look at these three words in the phonetic ways, and it's still, to me, I tell people it's a distract, shun. Like we're avoiding, we're putting our feet down, we're bracing, we're not wanting to look at it, or we're trying to avoid it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I always use David Copperfield. I believe in misdirection because all magicians use that. And remember that the 17th letter movement, standing in the queue, uses exactly the same tactics. They're in a process of duplicating the exact tactics and movement. That's why the characteristics of the 17th letter movement are identical to the Cabal. So we notice that they're behaving and doing things as a secret service. Is it not? Are they not offering us? Is the 17 letter movement not a secret service service? It's a secret service to us.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell people good news, because we don't just want to talk about bad stuff or whatever. Is I want to tell you that there is an atom, like literally an atomic bomb, but it's an information atomic bomb that is about to be dropped on America. It is the McAfee atomic bomb. And this is no joke. This is not hype. This is fact, and it is literally, it is real raw power.
Yes.
It's going to blow our socks right off our feet. And you're looking for disclosure. Well, here's the disclosure on its way. And let's hope that we get a lot of data from it, and a lot of satisfaction, and a lot of agreement, because we are the exactly what Juana Saban is saying about us feeling like we're going crazy and losing our minds, and just being overwhelmed by all of this this weird shit, this weird shit. And now suddenly we're gonna it's time to embarrass people, and it's time to at least get some kind of let's say like a watershed, and the veterans are going to, retired veterans are going to be part of that, as I've made a prediction on veteran participation, because but it's only retired veterans, because of course people that are still engaged can't like speak out, because it looks, it's like not non-partisan or whatever, but what they fought for, what they invested their lives into, a lot of them are in, they talk about personal conviction, and how people have to have the freedom. They have to have the freedom to be free.
Yes.
They literally just have to have the freedom to be free. You want to take the American Constitution? What is it all about? The freedom to be free. Now, there's two things here. I want to just give you a little tip, something from my pantry of information. Is there are two major cycles of action when it comes to a spiritual being. Okay, and I keep going back to the spiritual universe, where I've released a video recently explaining exactly where to locate the spiritual universe. If you have not watched that video, it is glaringly obvious, and it's got lots of it's the last 1 or 2 or 3 videos. Okay, and I wanted to say you get something called freedom. Okay, freedom from. So all make a note. I think Magoo knows all about this, and Anton, and a lot of people who talk to me on a regular basis. The most awesome supporters that I have, there's so many of them here tonight, is you get freedom from, and then you get freedom. The opposite of freedom from is freedom to. Okay? So right now, none of us on this planet, breathing the air and drinking the water of this planet, none of us have the capability of freedom to. All we are doing is suffering, is working our way through life to get free from the oppression, freedom from any kind of financial debt or suppression, or institutional suppression, or any kind of structural violence.
Free from danger.
Free from danger, free from debt, free from discrimination, freedom from censorship, and all that type of stuff. And once we are finished with the cycle of action of freedom from, then we will be in a position where we'll be free to. And that's out of survival, freedom from, and into creation, freedom to. A spiritual being understands life and is in a dynamic interchange with other beings in life, from his or from its viewpoint of creation, to force a being into a pair of tight jeans that they can't fit into. Where you're just bouncing around trying to pull those jeans like right on up, and you can't quite get yourself in there.
Yep.
That is freedom from. That's survival. And the opposite of survival is create.
Where you make your own pair of jeans.
Yeah, where you're not having to adapt. Adaptation is freedom from. In order to be free from, one needs to adapt. In order to be free to, what is the opposite of adapt? Adapting to the environment. The opposite of that is changing the environment to suit yourself. And that's from my pantry.
Good. Love the pantry. Now you can look for those pickles and.
There we go.
Okay, Amanda's asking, as she says, also,
Yeah.
Rob says, anyone that speaks about galactic federation is another distraction. Could he go into that? Because Thor Han was actually seen at the Pentagon years ago. Well, it's true, he was. Would Rob be able to speak about this?
Yes, there's something I can say about Thor Han. Thor Han, there was another person. You can add. There's a few beings here. One is Thor Han, which was the Pentagon dude.
No, that was Valiant Thor.
Oh, Valiant Thor. Okay, he's included. Okay, so who's?
And then there's Thor Han, and then there's somebody else who channels a Val Thor.
Notice that all the three letters, the three words were Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Well, Val from Valiant Nick. So some of them are Val Thor channeling, and the others are Thor Han or Val Nick.
Yeah.
It's all got to do some kind of variable from the Valiant or the Thor.
Or Lord Voldemort.
Lord Voldemort.
Yeah.
Rob, stop it.
Lord Voldemort.
Stop
Okay. So yeah, with those guys.
The Valiant Thor guy, he was real. That's legit.
Yeah.
He was around. There photos of him. There's videos of him. He was at the Pentagon.
Yes. Okay. Now that like I mentioned earlier, I'll just revert back to ultraviolet, and ultraviolet is a long, very long, very old project. The original engineering and mechanics to change the purposes of man, to change the original philosophies and intentions. No, I don't want to use the word intentions. I'll say philosophies to influence and change the philosophies of man against the brothers of the snake. So we're going back thousands of years now. So don't think in terms of like, washing machines and microwave ovens. We are going to be looking at, and that's what ultraviolet is. They are the original team that was dispatched in order to take on the brothers of the snake, which was installed into this world because the original owners took this planet by force and used it as a piece of real estate.
One of the original owners.
No, well, it was stolen from the original owners. It was done through invasion. It was an invader force, and that's okay. Enough said about that. But basically,
well, the first part of the question was about Galactic Federation.
Yeah, Galactic Federation.
So this also comes into that.
Yeah, so true. So Galactic Federation is now under the full control of the ultraviolet intergalactic expeditionary force. They are intergalactic because they're dealing with this galactic cluster.
I'll say again, so like I said before, that's
Go
ahead.
If you Google galactic cluster, you'll get an idea of the jurisdiction of the
Intergalactic Expeditionary Force. It's quite a mouthful, so we just call them X-Force for short.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people that blow up balloons and wear party hats when they start talking about the Galactic Federation. Well, the Galactic Federation is a product It is a product and an established organization, because that's what it is, right? That was rehabilitated and kind of basically rescued by who? Who was it rescued by? Because it's clear that this galaxy was not not always well here.
No. Okay, so just to give you a bit of back history, the Galactic Federation was in charge of this planet while all the shit was going down, happening to us, while we were being oppressed, while we were used for off-world slave trade. They are part of the problem. They were hijacked. Their institution was hijacked, and they were given new orders by the invader force. So they were just basically used. So they were sort of part of the problem, and then they got outside help from the Expeditionary Force, which is much larger jurisdiction than themselves, much larger entity, as you can imagine. And the larger entity came to save the smaller entity and pull it out of that situation of being hijacked and corrupted. So now you can't really blow the Galactic Federation's trumpet. They sort of were part of the problem. They were captured, they were abused. So there's something bigger than that.
And so you're dealing with
which is the X-Force. Yeah.
The X-Force. I can tell you. Have you ever heard of a person called Gautama Siddhartha? He was part. Okay, Valiant Thor. Because Gautama Siddhartha. Some of these people actually are quite familiar with the planet called Venus. That they tell you has got crushing temperatures and a very high atmospheric pressure and nothing.
And acidic air.
Acidic air and volcanic nonsense on it. Well, no, it's not.
That's rubbish.
Yeah, that's not true at all. That's completely fake.
Yeah, because there's a girl by the name of Sky who actually is from Earth here. She lives in New Zealand, and she actually was up on Venus for 5 years, and she was a technician to help operate the med beds. And they allowed her to take her vacation, so she came back. They brought her back to Earth. She was there for 5 years on Venus, and she said it looks just like this place.
Yes, it does. It looks just like this place. And I know that's going to sound crackers. It's like this. That's
why it's so bright.
Yes. It's
lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Because they've also got just as much power as we do.
Yeah, it's just
plus they have two suns. They got two suns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot brighter.
So I think I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I've got on the Galactic Federation. The Galactic Federation is the key for all of us. So if any of you end up losing yourself on the physical plane, let's just say hypothetically, just a kind of a quick first aid kit. If any of you find yourself losing the body, that's okay, because
in other words, dying.
Yeah, in other words, dying or whatever. That's not a problem. All you need to do is you instantly, once you reorientate yourself, you instantly head for the North Star, and just below the North Star.
Yeah.
Yes, just below the North Star is the center of the galaxy.
Galactic Central.
Yeah, Galactic Central. And you head directly for that location and no other location, regardless of what instructions or you have to.
Pretty lights or lovely music or anything.
Nothing. You just
ignore it and
you get the hell out of the solar system.
Get out of Dodge.
Yeah, get out of Dodge.
And they've got teams that are working, helping to rebuild this place. Special operations, you can join whichever team you feel the most affinity with, and it's all got projects to do with changing Earth's situation and all the other prison planets that are captured.
Yeah, it's not just one. You're not just dealing with one world. Yeah.
No.
Okay. But the thing is that what's important is that sometime we can have a discussion about what goes on at Galactic Central, and that's a very, very interesting project. And the various technology they've got there, and why they're there, and and basically it has a lot to do with the texture of the physical universe. It's like this technology that is at Galactic Central now comes from the Intergalactic Expeditionary Force, who are very ferocious, very
Spiritually aggressive,
very
extremely.
spiritually aggressive. They don't fuck around. They are hardcore. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
The kind of beings you want on your side.
I'm saying this is the only way you can say.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys, they
big army boot in the cabal's face.
Yeah, like right up their ass, forget their face.
Spiritual. Yeah, right up there.
My good friend.
It's like
have you guys ever met or heard of a fellow by the name of Robert Miles, who actually was taken on Venus and brought back? Because Robert is a friend of mine. A few years back, 3 or 4 years ago, I had Robert on my show. Spelled Myles, Robert Miles, and he actually fell in love with a girl that was from Venus. He actually had a cruise ship or cruise boat business in California. I think California or Florida. I think it's California. And she showed up. Her and another guy showed up on her boat, on his boat, and went on a cruise. And she told him that she's from Venus. And like he couldn't figure out how in the heck she got there, because there's no other vehicle that could have got her there on his. Like suddenly she's there on the boat, and like he was already on the water out in the ocean. And all of a sudden there she is, boom, and she's dry, like not wet. She was like, there she is on the boat. Like, how'd you get here? Oh, I'm from Venus. And so she sat down and talked to him, and they had a long conversation. But later on in time, he started to fall in love with her. And Robert, he was like, how is it that every guy, including my friends that I've known, Jordan Maxwell, every guy that actually has met a female extraterrestrial being, all fall in love with these girls because they're so beautiful. And every girl that they meet, they're always over 1,000 years old. I'm too old for you. I can't marry you.
It's like, I think when you meet one of those chicks, you're going to have to polish up your IQ a little bit, because they're pretty sharp.
Okay. I mean, because everybody that I've spoken to, every guy that's like either in their 20s or in their like late 20s, and they meet these girls are good, or absolutely like young looking, like their age. And I can't be with you. I can date you, but I can't fall in love with you. I can't marry you because I'm how old are you? Well, I'm 1,240 years old. Like what? So like, yeah, she's young.
Well, here's one for you. That's probably why Nikola Tesla stayed single his whole life, because he was from Venus, and no chicks here can compare to the ones on Venus. So he just stayed single.
None. Yeah. And the cool part is that Nikola Tesla's still here, folks. People think he's dead. No, he's very much alive. In fact, he's the one that actually created Space Force. Sorry. He helped create it. He also, like, you're going to hear all about it not too long from now, and by the end of this year.
Yes. You actually right about that. I've never heard that before, but now that you've said it, I definitely will give you a thumbs up on that one.
Yeah.
I will definitely. And Howard Hughes.
Howard Hughes is still alive. He's not dead. He's very much alive. You guys think he passed away? He's not. He's still alive. Howard Hughes actually has been very into space age. He's been. Why do you think he was always into flight? Why do you think he bought Boeing? He was so adamantly to make it become successful, but yet somebody tried to sabotage the engine so he would not become successful. It wasn't. He didn't fail because of his airlines. Someone tried to sabotage because of competition.
Yeah.
Think about it, folks.
I'll tell you as well. There's a person on your show now who actually
a listener.
Yeah. Whose name I won't reveal. Who actually I did a remote view with this person, and in fact a lot more than just a remote view. I mean, it was like it was quite direct. And this person has a family member, a very close family member, very close, who was connected with Howard Hughes, and this person has a lot of their abilities that they got from this very close family member. It's kind of like runs in the family, and she's got the most phenomenal intuition. And Howard Hughes was um, this close family member was he was very good friends with her. So I just wanted to mention that, you think we're just ordinary garden variety, white picket fence, lawn mowing, weed, pulling people, but in fact, amongst us are quite a few angels, angelics, that find it hard to live in this world. It's a tough place, and they deserve to be acknowledged. And there's just so many amazing people here. So I just wanted to mention, it's like I've never ever, tried to be the star of a show or something. I'm not that kind of person. To me, that's just childish. It's like the only value that I have is invested in other people. Like if I can,
let's make it where
their lives be.
Yeah, but let's make you may say you're not the star of the show, but you are a star. I'm not going to use the word star as in star of the show as in ego. You are a star. You always have been a star. I'm a star. Everyone in this chat rooms are stars because we come from the universe.
That's it.
We
Yeah,
come from the universe. We're all stars. So we
that's
also
beautiful.
worry about our ego. Think, well, I don't want to be the star of the room. You are. Everyone is. Right? But we all, each and every one of us has a role play to make because we need to help to wake up the others. Why do you think they call them stars that fall asleep, that we dream? Starlight, star bright. Remember that poem?
Yeah, you can't have a Milky Way without all the stars. It's not one star that makes the Milky Way special. It's all of us together. It's everything together. The viewpoints of a spiritual being are displayed in an example of a galaxy and how beautiful it is and how stunning it is and how it is thought, actually in persistence, in a beautiful motion. It's stunning.
It is. Absolutely. Well, folks, we're getting close to closing down. And how is your timing as far as being in South Africa right now?
We are sitting at 3 minutes to 6 a.m.
And when do they shut down your country?
The power comes back on in 33 minutes.
Okay, hopefully. I'll tell you why, folks, because EBS, everyone's worrying about, they're asking the same question, EBS, when is EBS coming? It's already here, folks. They're EBSing on other parts of the countries across the world. That's why they're EBSing. They already started EBSing South Africa, but they're doing it in a way of blackening out timing. Because they're cleaning up what's left behind. Those are coming in the chat room that late. But some people will do what's called soft EBSing. And soft EBSing means they're just shutting off. They're just putting a timer on you, saying, well, you're going to lose power for a little bit because we need to do this, this, and this. Because I'll tell you why. When they have no power on, doesn't mean that you can actually go outside, because if they don't want you to go outdoors, because if you do, you don't want to be collected by the military and think that you're going to be the bad guy. So that's why they're saying stay indoors and wait until we're done. Wait till the lights turn back on and you're safe. That's what it really is about. So, that's basically Rob and Mix right now have been dealing with what's going on right at the moment. And people are also asking, they're also asking questions too, saying, well, how is Rob and Mix earning an income? Because it used to be where PayPal and all that used to help them, and now South Africa has made some new laws that even donations are not allowed, that you have to earn income different ways. So it's going to be difficult for a little bit, but everyone's going to find a way to succeed. And Rob and Mix are still going to keep on chugging along to the point that they will be, if there are people out there that know they can actually help, give them a hand, show them that they can give them some ideas to help bring income. But you can't use the word donation. It has to be more where they can pay them as a warrant of purchase. So then they'll say, oh, I purchased something. right? So that's what you can do.
Yeah, like a payment instead of
Yes,
declaring it as
but
a
if you use the words
donation,
of
just declare
donation,
it
then
like
they
a
won't even allow
payment
them
for a
to.
virtual service.
Yeah, they won't allow, the government right now in Africa is not allowing anybody using the word donation, because apparently what happened in Africa, there was a corrupt corporation that really conned the public out of millions and millions of dollars, that they put a stop to the word donations. So basically, again, there has to be another ways and means of earning an income. So if anybody wants to use the word, I want to buy something from you, purchase something from you, then it's not a donation, it's fine. But if you want to get a hold of Rob and Mix, and possibly if you want to get a reading from these guys, remote view, please give them a call, or you want to email them. How can they contact you, Rob?
Yeah, well, it's the email is mercurycontact4q, the number 4, numeral 4q @gmail.com, or on our Telegram group. We're very hands-on the Telegram group. We conversate with our followers every day. We take private calls every day. We do private sessions every day. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And we also we always contactable there, but I think underneath our videos there is an email there.
I'll start putting.
What we'll do is we'll start putting our emails under our videos.
Well, our chat group, the Mercury chat group, it's Rob Mercury Chat on Telegram, but that's all. The link is also below every video.
Yeah.
And most people on the group here are very familiar. We all chat. Like the South Africans are also very tight, and they've been able to rally around me a little bit to help us get through. And we actually quite.
Yeah, we're very determined beings.
Yeah.
So we sorted it out actually quite quickly. We got a phone call today, which was quite promising, keeping us up to date on the happenings with the new payment system. So it's looking up. Yeah, next week we'll definitely have some kind of results.
Yeah, I'm sure that's something. Well, because we have to get called back to the boardroom, and they're busy investigating all sorts of very complex fintech, FINTECH. So fintech stands for financial technologies, and the kind of law attached to that stuff. And then I just wanted to make a quick mention about Games Effect Board 3. I think it's time that I finally release that famous board.
Yes, please.
Because we are dealing with neither alive nor dead. And
now's the time.
And now is the time. June, July. June is now done. So July, that's when it must get released now.
Yeah.
And that'll give you, it's very special, that fortune. Yeah.
If you folks ever get a chance to go to Rob and Mix's pages, there's actually Rob Mercury and Mix on YouTube. Watch some of their videos. You'd be surprised how much knowledge Rob does have, and you'll be like, you got to see some of his stuff is actually phenomenal. And they just, in fact, last week they just finished doing a 10-minute contact, I guess to say, and it got my attention. Like, it was echo. It was so cool. I was like blown away, and I go like, I got to get you guys back on here. We've got something really cool here going on. It was a short video, but it was really great. It was something that I mean, if you want to share before we close down, but if you want to share quickly what your goal was on that particular video.
Okay. Yeah, you say it.
Yeah, we were asking. It was the where were they video about psychiatrists and psychologists, how they actually went along with the whole CV-19 thing, and how they were complicit with it, and if they were really ethical and there for the right reasons and not attachments to the whole corrupt system, they would have spoken up, they would have stood up, they would have been present, and they would have objected, saying, this is going to crush people. We're going to lose lives from depression and everything else that comes along with shutting everything down. They would have been against it, not silent.
Yeah, and if you watch the video, you'll get the idea that they've got billions of dollars for everything else, but they haven't got billions of dollars to see how we're feeling. Because they always say, how do you feel about this? Well, this is how I feel about this, and how come you're not doing anything? I mean,
they won't dare ask, how do you feel?
They wouldn't, they wouldn't dare ask.
And also it proves that they are the source of Big Pharma.
One of the
psychiatry and psychology.
So the well-being, and then the one we are going to be releasing another video, which is going to be, which is going to complement
this weekend.
Yeah, the video we are making.
It's a follow-on from Where Are They? I mean, Where Were They? And it's called Where Are They?
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're pointing people into the directions where they can find their answers. And the people on our group are very quick. They're very bright, like Anton, Magoo, Amanda.
They've had lots of training from the whiteboards.
Yeah, but they are also just very seasoned people. Some of these people have been researching this kind of stuff for like 10 years, 15 years. So, we pride ourselves in the intellectual prowess as well as the intuition that these people have. They have a very fine balance, and they're very quick on the mark. And so we don't like watch videos, that are a bit trashy, like the purple person. We don't worry about people like that. Those, yeah.
So these two, the Where Were They and the Where Are They, that's coming up, the Where Are They, those are both leading up to the Games Effect Board 3, which will probably be released after that. We have to.
Yes, exactly. Well said.
So this weekend, Where Are They? And then next week, Games Effect 3.
It should be this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm just polishing.
It's a very, very powerful video, and it's
25 minutes long, so it's not that long, but not as short as the previous one.
Yeah, it's definitely going to blow your socks off. And it also demonstrates freedom from and freedom to. It shows you what is missing in our lives. It shows you,
and why.
Because there is some pain there is some anxiety, there's some monotony, and there is some, like sometimes you get this really crappy feeling and you just think, like, what's missing? There's something that should be there that's not there, and it's difficult to describe or put into words. So we made a video to show you, to point to where
what we need back.
Exactly. Well said, Nick.
Well, I want to thank Rob and Mix for coming on the program. Thank you guys for coming on the program. Hang on tight. Folks, we're going to leave you now. Talk to you guys next week, and actually have a great Canada Day if you're actually in Canada, and if you're not. Also, in July the 4th, you guys will be also celebrating the 4th of July. So, congratulations, United States, and all those across the world. Be good to each other. May God be with you all. We'll talk to you guys next week on Between Two Worlds, Chasing Shadows. Take care, guys.
When one hurts, when one needs, we always gotta learn together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace, alright. Isn't it time? Stop time. Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. One sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace.